What's up, guys? Welcome to the Outer Nexus. So when I started this podcast, when we started this podcast, um, I really wanted to talk about technology, the development of technology, how it was going to impact, you know, the economy in the world and the events that, would take place. And, I was really hoping that we were going to get some kind of UFO disclosure, and that was going to be a core part of this channel, and it still is. It still very much is. I'm still a UFO guy, but after a series of recent events, I'm realizing that we are not going to get UFO disclosure before a number of other things happen first, and I'll just share you this. Briefly, and we'll just go over this really quick. So, I don't know if you saw Pete Hegseth's speech, and we'll get into that later, but he clarified that he's going to have stronger NDAs and stuff like that, and this is part of the legislation for the NDA 2026, to support increased reporting on unidentified anomalous phenomena events by ensuring individuals, members of the armed forces, and other federal employees have adequate understanding of the constraints they would be under when reporting or discussing such an event. Okay. So, and Pete, this is like going around Twitter, username Whistling Mike. He's like, disclosure is dead because of this. Well, I actually kind of disagree. I actually kind of think that this is sort of the smoking gun of disclosure. Now we are at kind of the bargaining phase of, the government knows that a lot of people know that this stuff is real. And now they are kind of putting out last-ditch efforts. The military-industrial complex is putting out last-ditch efforts to try to lock all of this down before it explodes. And so, in line with that, we have a number of other events that I consider to sort of we're kind of witnessing an Enron-style collapse of the federal government, in my opinion. These are all my opinions. And, you look at the recent stuff, with the Charlie Kirk shooting. I think it's obvious to everyone now that they definitely, regardless of whether it was planned or whatever, they definitely are trying to use that death, to unite factions of the American populace against each other for some sort of, civil conflict. And, I think it's pretty obvious at this point that, at least in my opinion, for all the people who have been, following along with this, assassination, it's pretty obvious that this was an organized political assassination, by elements of the military-industrial complex, likely on behalf of a foreign state, because Turning Point USA was basically the new grassroots foundation of, basically neocon style, American-Israeli combined military interests packaged through Charlie Kirk. I don't know if you know this, but Charlie Kirk really didn't start Turning Point USA. He was approached when he was 18 years old with a very complex, tax structure for this company that really, unless you were going to school for accounting, no 18-year-old would be aware of how to set up a 501c3 on one end so that it feeds into a political action committee on another end and have it all legally work out. No, he was approached by a group of individuals to be the figurehead for this company. And I think it's pretty clear that that machine that he was the figurehead of needs to keep chugging along. And I'll just throw this up here. Like, you can have whatever opinion you want, but here, I'm just gonna throw this up here just to show you. So this is footage of immediately after the shooting. This is, A young man who actually goes to that school, who was volunteering for Turning Point USA. He's very shaken, as you could tell. He actually saw someone die, and he doesn't know what's going on. He's trying to explain what he saw. And then another individual who doesn't really work for Turning Point USA, doesn't go to that school. He was just seemingly hired for this one event. And he was actually holding the mic when the giant mic, when Charlie was shot. And this individual comes over and physically assaults him on camera while he's interviewing. So let's just watch this.
I was standing from probably the third row in the bottom. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off. Get off me! Get off me!
Emotions are running high right now.
So I don't know if you understand what you just saw, but that was physical assault. That's a crime. That man could have been arrested for doing that. So, you know, we have multiple criminals that day. We have George Zinn, allegedly Tyler Robinson, and whoever that guy was. And that guy went on Fox News and did multiple interviews about it after he physically assaulted a person. So if you think there's still not some weird cover-up going on at Turning Point USA, you can have whatever opinion you want. It doesn't really matter at this point, because it's very clear that political actors, regardless of what happened during that event, want to use that event to generate authoritarian control over things. And let's just get into what just happened here with Stephen Miller when he decided to spill the beans. Okay, so this is a clip of Stephen Miller interviewing a CNN anchor. And he actually lets slip the phrase plenary authority. And you can actually see the moment when they start screaming in his ear and he just shuts the fuck up. So let's watch this, and then I'll describe what plenary authority is.
You've called the district judge's ruling blocking the deployment of National Guard in Oregon legal insurrection. Does the administration still plan to abide by that ruling?
Well, the administration filed an appeal this morning with the Ninth Circuit. I would note the administration won an identical case in the Ninth Circuit just a few months ago with respect to the federalizing of the California National Guard. Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen? Hey, Stephen, can you hear me? It seemed, Stephen, I apologize. It seems like we're having a technical issue.
So that's totally creepy as fuck. And when people saw that and clipped it, CNN immediately took the video down and allowed Stephen Miller to reshoot the whole interview, like a whole retake. And that's the one that they have up on their channel now. So, you know, you see this, and, you know, you see the government shutdown happening. We're in a government shutdown. We have Mike Johnson, who is overtly avoiding swearing in some representative that would be the final vote to release the Epstein files. Everybody thinks it's about that. There's other reasons for the shutdown, but I think it's pretty obvious that that's a core aspect of this. You also have multiple weird stuff happening with Mike Johnson. Apparently, he's pretty active on Grindr, and that's about to come out. And he just stone cold, you know, denied the military their paychecks. And that gets into the next subject is, you know, I wonder how long this government thinks they could go without paying the military. And I'm wondering, after Hegseth's speech, if those admirals and generals in the Department of Defense are thinking about deleting the Department of War. Because apparently Hegseth is scared out of his mind from an assassination attempt after he gave that speech. And he probably should be. It was one of the most outrageous things I have ever seen in my entire life. And now What is your opinion on that speech?
On that speech.
Yeah.
So,
To me, it was like watching the end of this country.
just so everyone's aware, we haven't spoken much on this particular topic.
Definitely in agreement that this video could have simply just been a video like that he made the military watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, yeah, I mean, I don't think, in fact, I don't even think it's smart, by the way, to get all of your people in one place.
Yeah.
Because that's just a target. But, you know, even me out of shape, I didn't join the military. I wanted to join the military, but I was out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do think that if you're in the military, you should be in shape. Some of the stuff where they're going to take away some of the DEI stuff. I do think that if you get a position, it should be because you're the best person for that position.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, in those, you know, specific ones, I do think that there were good things said.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are things that I didn't like in that speech.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the fact that, you know, it was a complete dress down and that it was...
Those were stone cold face generals at the end of that. They did not appreciate that at all.
No, and I think some of that should have been aimed like in a separate video, even from the whole video being made itself, being like, listen... And this is for higher ups. This is for people that are, you know, in charge of other people in the military. You know, basically like, you know, we're going in a different direction. If you don't like it, and I'm not saying he should have said this, but I'm saying if he's going in that direction anyway, saying this, you know, we're going to start, you know, tying things down. And if you don't like it, please leave, you know. So in that, I think that should have been a different video. I also don't like the fact that some of the things that were said, like the Department of War, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, that is totally crazy.
Because war kind of brings on a whole, like, we should be on the offensive. And he did say that we should be on the offensive.
On the American populace.
Well, that, I'm getting to that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then... the other ends of this as well were like when he brought up, and I guess we'll just hit this right now, is where he's bringing up all of these safety things, you know, where it's like, you know, we need to do all of these different, you know, more militaristic, you know, like we need to start going into different sections of the government and whatnot. And I was like, no, like we don't need to be doing all of that.
Yeah.
Because then it starts becoming an overreach for the military.
Yeah.
You know, and don't get me wrong, when I think our military goes somewhere, I do think we should win. So, you know, in that, we should do that. But the way that he was addressing it was not the way that you should have done that.
He like, the thing is, if they got some 3 or 4 star general to make that speech, I don't think anybody would have a real issue with it other than having them all in one spot. He was not the dude to give that fucking speech.
No,
this is why you don't have grunts fucking run the military.
Well, and I will even say this for Peter, Seth, like I don't generally like the guy just from, you know, appearances and whatnot. You know, I've seen him. We've seen him next to Trump in a bunch of videos when he's in the.
He was totally neutral towards him before this.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying I wasn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you didn't like him.
I didn't like him from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that bugs me about him giving this speech is every time I've seen him, he plays the biggest used car salesman that I've ever seen, where he's like, you know, and he is one of those people.
And he plugged his book. He plugged his book. It's like, during that speech, it's like, oh my God.
You know, and I've seen him up there, you know, in the Oval Office talking about, like, you know, we got to toe the line. And he's one of those people that will toe the line 100% wherever that goes.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's this new technology. It is the thing of the future, you know, and I just hate that kind of, you know, like, don't get me wrong. Occasionally people like that are needed for baseline sales in some way. But, you know, when you're talking about, you know, to, you know, the American people, like what this is going to do, I don't think, again, the salesman is the way to do it.
Yeah.
So there are things that, like I said, I liked and I didn't like. Like that the military is going to be better, but I also don't like the fact that he's kind of overstepping his bounds, not only with the military themselves, but with the American people and how far the overreach could be.
And then there was what Trump said, which was basically a threat to the generals, like, you know, if you don't like it, you get out. And it was just so awkward. To me, it was just an overtly political, ideologically, you know, bent situation entirely. And I think it was on purpose. I think he got all those guys as a loyalty test. He got them in there to give that speech as a loyalty test. And it's just disgusting. Now, I get where you're coming from, you know, this stuff where, you know, get DEI out of the military. That's obviously not necessary at all. You know, we need to start tightening up standards, highest mouse standard. That's fine, whatever. You know, but that was like 5% of what that speech was. And that stuff, you didn't need a speech for that. You could have just implemented policy that's just like, all right, we're doing this now.
I do think a speech was necessary. However, I don't think that speech was necessary.
That speech wasn't necessary. It didn't need to be done like that.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't actually for the admirals and generals. It was for the general military altogether. Really.
Yeah, like he really wasn't speaking to the generals, because the generals would have known this anyway.
Yeah, they would just known this.
So this was kind of a, like...
It was weird that he got the generals in there to do this when it could have just been a video.
Yeah.
On the White House page or the Department of War page or whatever. You know what I mean? It was just such a strategic blunder. He made a complete ass out of himself. And furthermore, honestly, it looks like he lost a lot of respect from those guys. Like, those guys were not happy. You could tell those guys were not fucking happy about this at all, having to sit through this.
And one of the, I want to just throw this in there too.
Yeah.
Because it's...
And there's another aspect. Yeah.
You know, I am pro-military in some things.
Yeah.
You know, I wish the best for the troops.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're generally, you know, they're our people. They're out there to do what, you know, we want them to do. Most of the time, as long as they're pointed in the right direction.
Yeah.
But it's you don't. Their whole thing is service.
Yeah.
Like, you don't,
to the people. Yeah.
To the people. But you don't, you know, basically tell someone, you know, that's worked for the military for 15 plus years, like, you know, thanks, get the fuck out, basically.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
It's not how this shit works.
don't get me wrong, it happens.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of is what, like, even after 20 years, like, it's like, you know, thanks for, you know, it's retirement time, whatever it may be. Thanks for your service, you know, time to leave now. But this was like a very brash and very public, like, thanks, leave. And it wasn't like a gentle or...
It was very disrespectful.
It was disrespectful.
It was very disrespectful. And, you know, when he starts talking about using the military to train in American cities, that's just like, what the fuck are you even talking about at this point? Now, don't get me wrong. I know we've used the military to go in to quell some very serious situations, and there are some weird scenarios happening in our cities right now. But honestly, this is my opinion, when I stand back and I look at all of this looks manufactured. It looks like a number of things are being manufactured to generate civil conflict. And honestly, I also think that Hegseth's speech, it crosses the red line of nuclear command. I'm like absolutely certain there's a number of nuclear commanders in there that are like, okay, so we're in this scenario now. How do we get rid of this guy? Because the equation is pretty fucking simple. You can't have a guy like that in charge of the nuclear program or near where our nukes are. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that's happening right now. But that's just my opinion. What do you think about that?
Well, here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. I don't like the fact. I just explained. I don't like PTS to begin with.
Yeah.
So I don't. It's not that I don't think. Like, I don't think he should be like, what if you, like that. But I also don't think it's a problem of that degree. And don't get me wrong, nukes are a thing. Like, they're big. They're a problem when they're a problem.
You have to understand what I'm talking about is DOE nuclear command. They're like, there's the rest of us, and then there's them up there. Like, none of you can have nukes. And we will go through any measure possible so that doesn't happen. Like, okay, we are now in this scenario where we have an alcoholic bipolar person who is near our nuclear infrastructure. What are the protocols? I'm sure they have protocols for it. Continuity of government. Because to me, it feels like all of these things, I'm presenting all of these things to you because my real question is, do you really fucking think they're actually going to open up the government again? If Tyler Robinson must be sacrificed to preserve the sanctity of the state, the Epstein files absolutely cannot be real, and UFOs cannot be real, and all of these things are sort of coming to a head. My odds, if I were a betting man, I would say there is a non-0% chance that the federal government, they're not going to open it back up again. And not only that, but potentially this was Trump's plan from the beginning, is to get to this point, have the government shut down, and do what he wants. Because now Hegseth is opening up a Qatari Air Force facility in Idaho. And, you know, there's reasons for that. The Qatari, they bought our jets, and they need to train their pilots and things like that. But surface level, nobody's going to be happy about that at all.
No, no one's going to be happy about it because it's a Middle Eastern country this round, because we saw that it was, you know, like what, Germany, you know, we work with Canada, obviously. So we have others that have base, and it's not really, it's facilities. It's a facility in one of our bases.
Yes, but the fact is, I don't know if they would have been able to get this through without the government being shut down.
Possibly not.
But the greater question is, all of this military complex spending.
Yes.
Like now we're at the point, we are fucking at the point where we have Qatari facilities. Like, we're just, now are we just going to be a nation of mercenaries now? That's going to be our core industry.
Well,
and we're just going to be and everything is going to go to military and defense spending, and that's it.
Well, here's the thing. I don't like it. Okay, I'll just say that right off the bat. But I will also say it's not different than what it was yesterday either. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. So what I mean by that is...
well, yeah, that's changed.
You know, for a very long time, that has been our selling point.
Yeah, that's what it's becoming very... it's becoming very obvious that, you know, we are being forced into wars by foreign actors, and it's kind of tearing this country apart.
Yes,
and
I'll give you that.
There is no, like, our debt ceiling.
Yes,
you know, it's not like we have been kicking this can down the road since 2008, and when, you know, King Glowy himself, George H.W. Bush, passed in 2018. I feel like we've been in free fall ever since. And it doesn't matter what administration is in office. No. I feel like the country has been run by intelligence agencies, and when HW died, like, we're in total free fall now. Now everything is fractured and siloed, and there's just, you know, Dick Cheney was his protege, but turned out Dick Cheney is more Scrooge than pure Satan. You know what I mean? So we don't really hear from Dick anymore. You know, so, and that's it. Like, and we're good. In my opinion, like, I don't see how any of this goes back to normal, especially with the Israel toothpaste coming out of the tube.
Well, before we hit that, let me hit on one of the other things you brought up. On that, I do think that the government will, the shutdown will stop.
Okay.
And if for no other reason,
then the military pay.
Huh?
The military pay.
Oh, don't get me wrong. That one's got to happen, because you can't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, 2.5 months without military pay, we are not in the same country anymore. Yeah. We don't have a government anymore.
No, I'm saying, because there have been times where they've even done, like, you know, brief things where, like, even with the shutdown, we have to pay the military to do something like
exactly,
that.
Yeah. But they denied that recently.
They did, and they can't keep doing that.
They can't keep, if they keep doing it, that's what I'm saying. Honestly, I think that's on the table. But
what I'm saying is, for no other reason, it will come back then to give the illusion that we have some kind of choice in the matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Because without it, it's just like, so where's the voting happening here?
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, for no other reason than that, I think it will come back.
So, that makes sense on paper, what you said, but these individuals, Mike Johnson and Trump, what I'm saying is, like, they are, like, Trump and Mike are kind of in a corner with these Epstein files.
Yeah.
Like, if Epstein is actually a CIA Mossad agent, I mean, we're in a rock and a hard place here because, the Epstein files, they have all the votes they need to completely release them, but Epstein absolutely cannot exist, like, for Trump and Mike, you know what I'm saying? Like, so do you think, like, I feel like there could be an authoritarian power grab here where it's just like, yeah, we're not open to government, and we're not answering. We're not answering any questions anymore.
I think there'll be certain things like that specifically for like the Epstein files. Like, whenever you bring it up, it's going to be like that old, Area 51 thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's right there, sir.
Like, but see, the problem is they're doing this with a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, now
and that's what the collapse comes in, because, like, you could do that occasionally, one-off, you could pull it off.
Yeah.
But when it's like a bunch of stuff, big stuff, like, this is a problem now.
Oh no, it is. It's a problem. That's it's a newer problem.
Yeah.
Because
of the internet.
Well, because of the internet, and also because it's not also just like Area 51.
Yeah.
Now it's like, no, we know about this thing, and it's this other thing, and now it's something else. So it looks. And I should say it looks and is a big problem that they keep stopping information from being available.
Because here's the thing. We are going to get, like, we are rapidly approaching a point where we're just going to have a security clearance cast.
Yes.
And that's
it.
That's and it's literally, and the purpose of that would literally just to hide information from the plebs at that point. Yes. Like, that would be the only real reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's it.
Yeah, it's that, and it becomes that spirals very quickly out into, a separate class in general. Mm-hmm. And it kind of is even now, and has been for a while. Yeah. They had to grudgingly pass that bill that says, like, they can't do stocks and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And they named it after Pelosi.
Yeah.
And I hated Pelosi.
Oh yeah.
She's literally doing all of the things.
There's a website that tracks Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio, and apparently you can make a lot of money off of that because she's tied in.
Man, she's right again. How did that happen? It's like she had information that no one else did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, like, that's the kind of thing, though. Is like it's information that no one else has.
Yeah.
And it gets you ahead.
Yeah.
It's the same general deal here, where it's like you're gonna, again, and it's, if you even drop it down another notch, it becomes the haves and the haves not. Yeah. And it's with information. We are not getting all of the information. They're hiding it.
Yeah.
The Epstein files. It's not even so much do they exist. We were told they existed, so we're assuming they did. There's
tons.
That's what I'm saying. There's things out there, and I think they're real.
Yeah.
Based on everything that's been said.
Well, there's prosecution.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm saying, like, based on everything, I believe that they're real, but they're hiding it again, and it's one of those things. It's like, where is it?
Yeah. And the thing is, the point is for that is that Trump ran on draining the swamp. When it's so obvious now, especially with Anna Paulina Luna coming out on Danny Jones' podcast and saying that honestly, this is the biggest tell for me, is she came out on Danny Jones' podcast and she was like, yes, we do think there was foreign actors involved in Charlie Kirk's shooting, and it was China. Now, listen, okay. So Anna Paulina Luna is a Messianic Jew. They're pretty interesting. They are Jews that accept Jesus as their savior, as part of their religion. But she's spiritually invested in the state of Israel. So, you know, it creates this weird scenario where, you know, oh, so, you know, it's pretty obvious that a foreign actor was involved. And, you know, whether you agree with the direction of this conversation, the overall bubbling topic is Israeli influence over us.
See, here's the thing.
Yeah.
And I'll say this for when we're talking about influence and all these different... And
we're going to get to it directly.
Really, the topic is boogeymen almost.
Yeah.
And I have never been one for... And we've heard it all the time. Russia.
Yeah.
Like, really, because I've always been like, what do they care? Like, a lot of times we're not targeting them, and they're not targeting us.
Yeah.
So why why do we always hear like they're doing something? So in my mind, a lot of times it's not Russia. And here's the thing with Anna Paulina Luna, I don't agree with what she said here for the Charlie Kirk one.
Yeah.
However, if there was a boogeyman, I would.
The boogeyman.
It's almost always, in my opinion, going to be China, because it's not like they're trying to
an obvious boogeyman. Yeah. Like when she said that, it was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's almost like they know that they can't hide the fact that there was foreign involvement, but they absolutely cannot say that it was Israel.
Yeah.
And so just as clarification, we are secular, non-religious American Jews. We're not religious at all, but you know, before all of this, we didn't really have a huge opinion about Israel. I'd say that we thought maybe it should be an American military base, something like that. And then a bunch of this stuff started happening. And then really, okay, I'm just going to show you this, because this is just like, I'm kind of fucking done now.
I remember my first APAC reception, and like your fundraiser tells you have to go, and your chief of staff tells you have to go, your committee chairman all tell you have to go, and you get there and you wear this name badge, and I remember there's a QR code on it. And what we were supposed to do was go talk to donors, and then if they liked you, they scanned your QR code to make a donation, like on the spot. And so can you just imagine how demoralizing that is, to like be told that your job for the next several hours to go chat people up, hoping they would scan you like a can of tomato soup on the way out of the meeting.
I mean, it's literally purchasing.
Right. And so I saw that and I was like, wow, that is so freaking weird. I remember my first
So AIPAC is the Israeli lobby, the ginormous Israeli lobby. If you just look into AIPAC a little bit, you'll realize that AIPAC is tied to every single senator in Congress right now, and the majority of House representatives. And it is a tradition for politicians to go over there in every August, I think, just to do stuff or whatever. And so Matt Gaetz is explaining that they have an AIPAC convention where they give each politician their own QR code, you know, to donate them. Like it's so fucking crazy. A YouTuber I was just watching recently, Mr. Let It Go, I think, he refers to Israel as IHOP, the International House of Politicians. And, you know, like before all this, I really didn't think in these directions or think about this a whole lot. But now I'm thinking, what if that is actually the case? Is that Israel is the International House of Politicians, and they're it's the core center of the military industrial complex. What if that's the case? What if they're the ones with the UFOs?
Yeah, well, I don't think they're the ones with the UFOs necessarily. But I do think that they would have access, even if it was in our government.
Yeah.
I do think that now, I will tell you my own opinion, and this is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that they are pulling the strings way higher than anyone thinks that they are.
Yeah.
I think they basically have direct access to the highest levels.
Of
our government. So I don't have a good opinion right now of the Israeli people.
Tucker was saying that in the Pentagon, and apparently this is a problem in the Pentagon, to have Israeli military reps burst into Pentagon meetings in the Pentagon and start screaming about shit.
Yeah.
And it's happened multiple times.
Yeah, and I do think that, one of the founding things that, our country was built on was a separation between
Church and state.
church and state.
Yeah.
And when you have, like, even you said Anna Paulina Luna, you said she was
a Messianic Jew.
Yeah. And, and it's like,
she's just spiritually invested in Israel.
And that's I'm not saying it because, even if you're just normal American Christian, you have your, faith in, the church and Jesus and whatever.
Yeah.
So you have a certain, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But when it's like, for Israel, for some, whatever reason it may be, it's like, it's constantly like, it could bend the decision making of a general, and it seems to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, where do you stand on this? Because it's not like you're neutral anymore.
Yeah, you're not neutral anymore.
You're not like coming from it from a data perspective of like, what's best for the U.S. It's just like, well, that's Israel. God's going to judge me later.
Yeah. So, and I think a really core problem to all this, and it's actually something that Netanyahu was talking about, is basically their last core base is specifically the evangelicals that read in their Bible that Israel is, the chosen people, the Holy Land and the chosen people. And in my opinion, it's, you know what? I really don't. I don't care if the state of Israel wants to exist or if they want to be the Holy Land or if you want to be, and I'm sure that I'm absolutely certain there's a bunch of really good Jews over there practicing Judaism and living in the Holy Land and living their holy experience. And that's all wonderful. The Jews that we are talking about are radical Zionists who know all of this information. They are secular Jews. They know that they can manipulate evangelicals into their cause because their country is technically in the Bible. These are secular Jews. These are warmongers. These are Zionists. These are radical political actors. They are not religious Jews. They are seeking power and dominion. They are warmongers. Like, they're not, this is not anti-Semitic. In fact, I would say those are the most anti-Semitic individuals because they are an inversion of a Semite. They are an anti-Semite. These people they're basically like demonic warmongers who are taking advantage of Christians. Like, they're taking advantage of your beliefs.
And you can actually kind of equate it in a way to like what you see literally physically, I should say physically happening with like Hamas.
Yeah.
Where it's like, they're everything that you've heard about, it's like they hide behind the people.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's what these people are doing.
That's what these people are doing.
They're hiding behind the veil of like, oh no, we're in the Bible.
Like, we're the chosen people from the Bible.
Yeah, and we're just Jew. It's just Jew.
It's just we're all just Jews. No,
you're doing something else now.
Yeah, now you're killing Americans and doing false flags and doing all sorts of weird shit, and everybody can see it now. Now it's like, oh, now there's this bit, and it really makes me want. And it's like this government shutdown. If Trump is so tied into Israel and all of this is coming to a head and there's all this anti-Israel sentiment, like, what the fuck? Like, I almost feel like they're going to do more false flags on our country.
Yeah. You know what I kind of hope Israel would have done?
What?
And I know they're not going to because it's the land of the Bible is it's over there.
Yeah. But
there's more Jews in New York.
Yeah.
Just claim New York.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, I don't listen, if they did it in a certain way where they're just like, oh, we'll go over there and we'll live there with the Palestinians and we'll be fine. That would be one thing.
Yeah.
But these guys are ethno-national, like religious ethno-nationalists.
Yeah.
Like, I can't understand why that. I mean, it's in the Bible. Okay, sure, whatever. But to cause this much destruction over this small piece of land, it actually makes you wonder if there's some Jews who would like to enable the events of Revelation almost. Like they want to enact it to see it happen. You know what I mean?
There could be.
Because they have the red heifer shit going on. It makes me wonder if there's
I've seen Christians in that same headspace.
Yeah.
So it's not unheard of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just very bizarre.
But, I'm back to what you had here with Gates. I do want to say, this is not new. This is not new at all.
But he's just explaining
He's explaining it.
It's great.
And, I don't know if you remember, because we didn't do this on this channel. This was like 2 years before we started this. But that video with Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember it, where he basically, Joe Biden, explains that politicians in his time, this was, 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
He's like, we get bought out, and we don't make decisions without our donors. Like, this was, and he explained it, like, in full detail. Like, if they don't say yes or no, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And that's not the American people and where they were. He was just saying donors, like the people that give you money.
Yeah.
They're deciding where the country goes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just it. Like, where are we in the equation?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what if things get so out of control and President Trump has to use plenary authority?
Plenary authority.
What's your opinion, Billy? We fought a revolutionary war over that.
Yes, and there is no such thing here, as you well know, as plenary authority. You cannot basically have unlimited power here in the U.S. And that was based on the fact that we came from places where that was a thing. So, no, he doesn't have them. No, he can't use them. Now, I do know we are going to have separate opinions on where the military can be used.
Okay.
I do think that the military can be used on occasions where you have, like, riots. Things that
real riots.
It depends on
what it looks like they're doing now is it looks like they're trying to provoke riots. That's what it looks like. He's trying to bring in the military to generate that response to justify a harder crackdown.
He could be.
That's all of this lines up to that. It looks like they want to consolidate power to start civil conflict. I'm talking about Charlie Kirk's death. It's all the left's fault. Then Hegseth comes out, gives an incredibly inappropriate ideological speech to get all the generals on the same page. We're going to invade American cities. We're going to crack these motherfuckers down. Stephen Miller accidentally says plenary authority. The government shut down. Like, it's all lining up in a very specific direction that is not calming down.
Like, one of the things is, I think did we show the video of that? No, I don't think we did. Of those guys trying to arrest.
We didn't show that video. Yeah. That was totally ridiculous.
Yeah. So basically, out there's a video where these guys try and arrest this. We're gonna say possible immigrant.
It's we don't really know.
But in the middle of Chicago.
Yeah.
And it's done
in like a neighborhood.
It's done horribly. It is
so incompetent.
Yeah, it's so incompetent. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
I do think that you could use, again, a part of the military, not in full, like, not carrying their, in normal ICE stuff. Because we have trained individuals.
But they have to be marked.
Payroll.
They have to be marked.
Yeah, and
that's the thing.
I'm totally for that.
Yeah.
Totally for that. You can mark them. I do think they should still be able to cover their face because there's just a lot of people out there that could make dumb decisions. But marked, yes. And we can use them. They're on our payroll already. We could use them for ICE because that was atrocious.
That was
so
unbelievable.
We already have people who have the abilities to do these things.
Yeah,
might as well use them here too. Now, I also think in another place that we can use them that may even be to better effect. And I know that this isn't too controversial, but is against the cartels.
Oh, yeah, and that we could have all got...
Yeah.
So, okay, in my timeline of like, my alternate history timeline of, like, what would America look like? I honestly, in the 80s, if we just fucking use the military against the cartels instead of doing anything in the Middle East. If we just totally skip the Middle East and focused entirely on getting rid of these fucking cartels in South America in like the 1980s, we would be living in a totally different country right now. Like we wouldn't be having any of these problems. So as far as using the military against the cartels, I have no fucking problem with that at all. You know, if that's what Hegseth was talking about in his speech, he did a horrible job clarifying that. Yes. But if he had clarified, like, we're going to try to take out these cartels, I'm on board for that.
Yeah.
I am not on board with, and this is where we are distinctly a difference of opinion. I am not on board with going after innocent immigrants who might actually even be illegal, who have like jobs and they're contributing and they're trying to and they're not breaking any laws. I have an issue with going after those individuals in the way that they're doing this. They should be focusing on the criminals, the cartels, the troublemakers first, the drunk drivers, get them the fuck out of here. But for Jose and his taco truck, just, you know, selling stuff at the county fair, I don't even think those people should be deported. I think the problem at that point is much more of an economic issue, like an overall economic issue. Like the real question is, you know, we do have all of this money in this country. The economy could actually be better for everyone, but now we're kind of forced into these petty scenarios where we have to get rid of the quote unquote innocent immigrants because we don't have room for them in our economic system anymore. You know what I mean? Like, and now we're in this scenario where we can't actually, it's not the 1900s anymore. We can't, they don't have a place in our society, you know? And now because of that, it creates situations like this.
Yes. So you are right. We do have a difference of opinion on this particular one. But it's not, I don't think it's as different as you think. I do believe that we should go after them as well. I don't think there's a way to go after, because like you said, you know, get rid of the drunk drivers, and I do think that they're doing that already.
Yeah.
But I do think that on the way, if they're in the area,
if you get nabbed, you get nabbed. You know.
And I do
but
think
going out of your way to residential neighborhoods just for these more,
and I'm not saying
it's like, oh man,
like say you got a call and you're like, you know, there's a family living out, you know, in the kind of in the boonies, you know, and we know that there's like 5 people out there. That I think maybe you could leave that alone. However, if you go to some place and you're like, you know, there's a building over there, it's abandoned, there's 30 of them in there. It's like,
no, you gotta take care.
You gotta take care of stuff like that.
You gotta take care of shit. Like that.
You know, and I do even think, you know, maybe even a little 10 still a lot for a single building, and it starts putting a strain on the community.
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't be stuff like that.
Right. If you're crowding a building, then that's not.
However, you know, I don't like the fact that these people come in, you know, if you're illegal. And it's like we have so many people that are legally trying to get in.
Yeah.
And it is not fair to them.
Yes.
Like they've done everything right. And their spot is being taken.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think in a way it's American to allow that to just be like, you know, we're going to keep quiet on this.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're right. Yeah.
You know, so I do think in that way, like, I don't have much sympathy for them, because it's like, it's not that you can't come over. It's that you came over in the wrong way. You know, so it's not that I don't want you here as an individual. It's that you came in illegally and jumped the line.
Yeah. And a lot of the times, the only reason why you would come here legally is for nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
Now, there are some individuals that are just like, they come from, you know, absolute third world poverty and do not understand how to, like, the process. And it's like, for those people, I give them more slack, who are they're not trying to cause any problems. They just really don't know what's going on and they want a better life. I get it. And I honestly, and here's the thing. I fully understand if you want to have socialist welfare programs, you have to be able to track everybody who's here.
Yeah.
You have to be able to track all your citizens, even the illegal ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That has to be a known quantity. So in that angle, yeah, like this is an absolute problem that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I will say there is one other side to it. And you kind of hit a good chunk of it. It's the economic side.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people push this one off as not an issue. Like, they're coming in.
But it is an issue.
Well, they're coming, because like even you said, you know, they're coming in, you know, this guy got a job. He, you know, he even may pay some taxes.
Yeah.
Still, I don't like it because, again,
Right.
he jumped the line.
Yeah.
But even that, it's like, well, where is he economically?
Right.
Probably he's on the lower rung of the economic scale.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of our own people are right now,
Yes.
especially our younger people.
Yes.
And because of these, like, and they're not normally in boony areas,
Right.
you know, out in the middle of nowhere. They're
Yeah.
in populated areas.
Yeah.
And there's already a strain on these populated areas. They're highly populated.
Yeah.
So the limited amount of resources, and by resources, I mean everything, food, housing, all of it, it's strained already, and now you have it strained even more, which is driving, in my opinion, a lot of the things we're seeing with, like, the housing prices.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like, you know, if we did get a lot of these people, we may not see as much. Now, do I think that they're the overall problem? No. They are not the overall problem. It's how we designed our system and what's happening up above. However, I don't think they're helping it.
No, they're
and
not.
I do think getting rid of them for those reasons would help the system, like, relieve some of the pressure. Like,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But the real pressure, the real thing is, and this is what I want to lead into here, is that I think that we are basically still experiencing the 2008 crash. Like, Obama just kicked the can down the road, and we've just been kicking that can down the road, and our debt is becoming so exponential. It's like, here's the thing. I feel like we thought for a long time with our debt, that, you know, we're always going to be the superpower. And if our debt gets too big or whatever, we could just use our military to defend our country or something like that. But now we live in a multipolar world. China is definitely outpacing us in certain ways. And I don't know where that paradigm goes. It feels like our economy is about to collapse, and they're trying to basically mask everything with all these false flags and shit.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. You know, there's this. I don't know. Yeah.
Hold on, let's pull this shit up.
I can't get rid of that pop up there, but
Oh, don't worry. I'll just pull it up either way.
yeah.
Watch this. Oh, is this?
Yeah, I can't get rid of that thing. I don't know what it is. And it keeps trying to download something too. But yeah, this is showing, you know, up top, like,
This is the debt clock.
and it shows all of the things linked to the debt clock.
Yeah.
Like, you know, how much interest, where the tax revenue is, how much money we're taking in, you know, percentages of certain things.
Yeah.
How much the dollar's worth, and what that means for us.
Yeah.
Like, this shows a lot of those kinds of things. And if you look at our, like, it's unmanageable.
Yeah.
Like, that number right now, according to this thing, is 37.
0.8 trillion.
Yeah.
And all of and that number, as it and it's going to keep going up exponentially. It's actually going to keep going up exponentially. And when it goes up exponentially, it impacts the value of the purchasing power of our dollar.
Yes.
You know, and eventually, it's like, where is all this money going? Where is all this amount of money going? And let me tell you what. If Trump shuts down this government and actually sends in the Doge agents to fix this fucking problem, okay. But it doesn't look like that's what's happening.
No.
That it looks like all of this is a mad dash, like, you know, crabs in a bucket. Everybody's grasping at straws. Collapse of Enron style collapse of the government. That's what this looks like to me.
The only upside I can say, and I'm saying basically an inverse of what you're, and this is just to play devil's advocate, is that we're seeing all this increase in military industrial stuff.
Yeah.
It's our strong suit. And the only thing I can say, again, this is playing devil's advocate, is that they're increasing this just because it's where we would get the most money from the fastest.
Yeah. But man, I'm getting 1991 Soviet Russia vibes from this.
Oh no, I mean from us, because everybody kind of sees that we're not where we even believe we should be.
The one day before the collapse of the Soviet Union, one of their 5-star admirals was talking to a politician on the phone one day before, and he was like, "The Soviet Union is never going to collapse. It's never gonna happen. It's just gonna be this way." And then it collapsed.
Oh no, and it absolutely could.
Yeah.
I mean, just that number itself is, and there's a lot. I should say, and there's a lot to that number too.
Yeah.
Like, who owns that debt?
Yeah.
Where is it?
And that's what China owns a portion of it.
China owns a portion of it, but it's actually not as great a portion as a lot of people talk about.
Right. Yeah.
And
it's not.
You know who owns the most of it?
Who?
Is the Federal Reserve.
Right.
Owns like most of that debt.
Okay.
And there's a whole bunch of stuff we've talked about with the Federal Reserve and how they work. But it's, how do we pay back? Like, how do we get this? How do we even pay like all the student loan stuff that?
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to get all this money paid down? I have no clue.
And then right intersecting with all of this is AI revolution, data centers. Did you hear that China has 300,000 humanoid robots working in factories right now?
I heard
that could be propaganda.
I heard, but I did see the thing for that.
I mean, bro, if these things are $4,000 each,
but
it's not hard.
Here's the thing: I have heard this as well, and this is even like, it doesn't have to be that there's humanoid robots out there.
Yeah,
the CEOs of a lot of these big companies who were playing, like, if you would have asked them this 2 years ago, when AI was being talked about, they all said the same thing.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
Yep,
we're not really gonna go this way. AI is not gonna replace your job.
Yeah.
Today, they're all like, no, we're gonna replace you as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah,
like they're all saying it now. They're not even pretending anymore to be like, we're gonna slow down and this is gonna be a transition. They're like, no, as soon as we're able to basically replace everybody, we're gonna replace everybody.
They're gonna do it. But the problem is, like, that, you know what? That's great, but the fact is, you know what AI would be really good at replacing? Themselves. Yes. And that's probably what's going down. They're probably, and this is the craziest, they're probably going to build all these systems out, and then the AI is just going to eat them up.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going to happen. We're going to witness it.
And we may witness that, because
the AI Ragnarok.
And here's the thing with AI. I do want to say this, because I think sometimes it gets an unfair look at. And it's not that I have a problem with AI. I do think we need to figure out what it means that we have them and they're here and they are taking our jobs.
Yeah.
That is not a speculation.
No. Did you see the Figure 3 video?
No, I don't even think.
I'll show you that.
But they're here, they're taking our jobs, and it seems unfair, but it's not that I think it's a bad thing. Like, everybody's like,
oh, like, no.
I don't want it to take my fun stuff.
Right.
Like I want to be able to sit at home and do the things I want to do, but so far we've designed AI to do that even better.
Yeah.
It's like, no, design it to take my job.
Right.
And then I can do the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But the real question then also becomes, if that becomes the paradigm, which is what we're kind of hoping for in a general sense, is who's getting all the money for this AI?
Right.
And I don't, this is my terror, because, you have your whole, like, my whole terror thing is they're never going to share this money. Like, there's no way to, like, it's not U.S. money. It's whoever's company owns the AI or the robots themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, but there are no jobs and they're the only ones doing it. Yeah. So what about us? Like, we have to live.
Yeah.
And I think then that's where the control stuff comes in, and that's where I lose my mind.
Yeah, that's where the Tiananmen Square comes in.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I think the issue is the mode of economy that we're in, and right now we are in just pure crony military industrial complex capitalism.
Yes.
Totally regulatory captured. Like it's just, we live in an oligarchy. We're not different from Russia, by the way. This is not different from Russia at all. And in fact, the way that this country looks is what Russia looks like also.
Yeah. And it's almost worse than what we've seen in the past with like the Russian and USSR oligarchies.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if the oligarch was comfortable, then the country kind of toned down. But we also have these capitalist people where they're just you could make 30% profit that year. You've made 30%.
Yeah.
But you didn't make the projected 35.
Yeah.
Which means there is never a calming down.
There's never a calming down. That's the actual problem. And China solved this. Maybe not solved it, but they just don't do that. China just doesn't operate that way. They just don't operate their businesses that way.
No.
If they have a tough year, then batten down the hatches and you'll be fine. You know what I mean?
But I will say it's worse in China.
It's probably worse. But
yes.
That, in terms of that particular problem, that is not the goal of their business.
No.
You know what I mean? Is just to have exponential, endless growth, because it's not realistic. It doesn't work.
No.
You know what I mean?
And to treat 30% as a failure, like if your goal was 35 and then 30%, like no, we lost money this year.
Yeah.
Like no, you made 30%. Like it's nuts.
Yeah. No, and I think the only thing that could happen, really, honestly, and I actually think these motherfuckers that are running these AI companies like OpenAI, that dude Sam Altman, I think he's kind of terrified, because he knows that when he develops all of this AI stuff, it is probably going to try to kill him. I think he knows that. I think he's scared.
I mean, I think there's a general fear in a way,
Yeah.
and this has always been talked about. It's been talked about in movies and everything like that too. That these people who are trying to maintain these high controls, in general, Sam Altman being one of them, because of what he did with his OpenAI company that he was not supposed to do in the first place. The name is OpenAI.
It literally was supposed to be an open foundation, and then he took it fucking private.
Yeah. But all of these people that are trying to maintain these high controls so that they make this, crazy amount of money and, hold power in places. Now, I do think it's going to eventually, and everyone hopes that in a way, it's going to backfire. It's kind of like what you said with the AI.
Oh, they talk about this.
Yeah.
They literally, it looks like they're scared talking about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they know that this is also a possibility.
Well, and the other thing, too, is if you mismanage, like right now, like this moment, where it's like if you
it's being mismanaged.
If you mismanage the U.S. people and economy in such a way that our day-to-day is very interrupted, as in we're not getting services anymore.
Right. Brownouts.
If
government services, basic things, children start dying because they don't get certain medications.
Yeah. If stuff like that starts happening, then, you could have all the money in the world, but now it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And there's a billion more of us than there are of you at that point.
Exactly. And this all goes back, we'll end on the monkeys with nukes theory.
Yeah.
If, hypothetically, there was, monkeys with nukes and advanced AI, but there was also advanced species on other planets, wouldn't they start being really concerned about the monkeys with nukes and AI? And I think that's what 3i Atlas is. I won't say I think it is, but, I think we're in for a surprise with that thing.
That is possible.
Yeah.
But with the monkeys with nukes part, I always wonder about that. because it always puts humanity in a weird light. And it's almost like, and I don't like this particular light. I don't like the Men in Black type situation where it's like, when you watch those movies, the every alien species ever knows about everything that's going on, but humans are totally in the dark.
I definitely don't think it's like that. I think it's more like Prometheus, where there are advanced species of alien that kind of check up on other areas, and man, it's just like,
I think that the way that our universe is designed, because it's not a friendly place.
Yeah,
like it's not
Dark Forest theory.
Well, Dark Forest, I don't just mean that. I meant like it's not a friendly place, as in like you have to struggle to survive. That's almost the key to survival,
basically, sort of.
So I think a lot of those
unless
advanced
nuclear
species,
fission is real.
No, and I'm saying like even those advanced species would have had their time where they've had to struggle to survive.
Right.
So I just think it even if they were out there and they exist and they're looking at us, I think that they would have to keep in mind, and I would assume that they do, that an amount of struggle is almost required.
Okay, I'm not talking about that's not. I'm talking about the monkeys develop advanced AI, and nukes. And doesn't matter what happens to the monkeys, but now the AI is able to go into space with nukes and start causing problems and shit.
Well, yeah.
Like, and then it becomes like a problem, and motherfuckers have to come in and be like, okay, this all has to calm down before you blow up a planet.
Well, I kind of think that it would be like,
I know it's highly
no, it is. I'm just saying, I would think that they would let us.
Try to figure it out first, but then I would
and then they would almost let us like completely destroy ourselves,
maybe,
and then they would just basically
come in and as the saviors.
Well, no, and then wipe the board clean.
Well, okay, so there's that.
Yeah.
That's different for what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I forget who it was. I think it was Arthur C. Clarke Foundation, the Foundation series. I think something similar happens to humans, and the aliens come in as the humans' saviors.
Yeah.
And basically present to them that they are the saviors. They're gonna save mankind.
Yeah.
And then it's like revealed at the end that they actually physically look like demons. That's like not really. It's like some weird reveal at the end.
Yeah.
But the idea that aliens coming in to save us, and this is actually something that Bill Cooper spoke about, that they're gonna the final psyop is they're gonna use the alien psyop. They're gonna come in to try to save us. And I was like, whenever I hear like they're gonna use the alien psyop to come in and save us, I'm always like, it doesn't. I don't think anybody would go along with that if they were faking it. You know what I mean? Like it would just be too unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think it would be a hard one to pull off, because you have to pull off an entire backstory,
a whole backstory
that is nearly implausible. You would basically have to be like, the aliens are here to save us, but they're not going to talk about themselves at all. And don't ask questions either, because they're just not going to answer. And I really mean that. Don't ask any questions. Because it would come down to that, because it's like, okay, well, it's like, how are you going to save us? Well, we'll figure that out.
And
it's like, well, how does your spaceship that you got here work? You don't need to worry about that. And it's like, then I don't really want you here.
Exactly. So I don't really buy into the aliens saving us as a psyop, but I do think it's a possibility that there could be advanced species monitoring the situation, and there could be a chance that they might have to step in and take care of this shit. Yeah. You look at historical events thousands of years ago, people describing these dramatic spiritual events where shields in the sky, they're describing UFOs. We might actually be in some kind of weird time period where that happens again. But things could just calm down and go back to normal.
Yeah. They could. And here's the thing, we talk about normalcy here, but I think normalcy has been interrupted to a degree.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I still think, and we've mentioned this before, the triggering event.
Yeah.
Like for all the change, because like I used to be well more into watching politics than I am now. And for me, one of the big reasons I didn't stop, but that I don't get like every time something pops up, I'm like, oh, gotta watch it all.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, is because it's like, okay. So, and for instance, I'll use, the laptop, from,
Hunter
Biden's laptop, it's like, oh, we have it. Okay. We know we have it. We've now even seen it.
Yeah.
We've confirmed it existed. It's in custody.
Yeah.
Like there's paperwork now too.
Yeah.
Official paperwork. It's here.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, so what are the consequences for this?
Yeah.
Not a thing.
Not a thing.
And that just keeps rolling.
Yeah.
That's
you like, and see, the thing is, like, you can have a one-off with that every 6 months or a year or something, but you can't just have a bunch in a row that are just like, okay, now you can't know this, and actually we're going to introduce legislation that constrains you from talking about any of these subjects.
Yeah.
Even if you're a civilian.
Yeah. Hillary. And her emails. And it's like, oh, they exist. They're on a server. They're on her phone is in custody.
Yeah.
Oh, it was lost.
It was lost.
We don't know where it's.
We're not gonna.
And that's the thing is there are never any consequences.
No accountability at all.
Yeah.
None.
No.
Like, and I don't know how you could manage being this much in debt with such a shitty economy and there's no accountability at all.
No.
Like, I mean, at what point do people start talking about, well, we might have to start focusing we might have to either like break up the federal government, start focusing on local governments, maybe start developing some sort of management systems for regions, like, because the federal it just looks, to me, it just looks like this whole thing's House of Cards now. Here's the thing. I don't think any politician in office right now represents us in any way.
Oh, that is another, that's a whole total issue.
Like I think, and a part of this, I actually think a part of this whole thing that's exploding out is, I think a number of people are realizing, don't vote for Democrats or Republicans. Both sides.
But,
it's not going to happen. Like, they are not, like, either side is totally compromised.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even worth, like, you could, before, I feel like you could be like, well, you're just throwing away your vote. You are literally throwing away your vote, voting for a Democrat or Republican. There is actually no point. There is no point in voting for either a Democrat or a Republican.
Yeah. Now, I will say there is a difference between voting for them.
Local elections matter.
Well, I don't just mean that. I mean, like, when it was the election between, like, Trump and Hillary.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And let me clarify.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm talking about now. I'm talking about ever since the Epstein file shit.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like ever since the Epstein file stuff, it's like, okay, this is all two wings of the same bird.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, like, I don't know what the other solution is. Like,
no,
you can't trust any of these people.
No, and here's the thing. When you have an issue, and this has been going on in our government for a long time, and we never see it, but it's definitely happened. Is when one side messes up, it would come to light.
Yeah,
but it doesn't, and the only reason it doesn't is because the other side agrees that, all right, we're gonna hide whatever this is, but you owe us one.
Yeah,
and then it's just back and forth.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, we made sure that thing never came to light. Now we messed up and you do the same.
Yeah.
And then it just basically became, like you said, they look like they're two different parties and they play like they're against each other. They're basically one.
It's like what Jimmy Dore said. So on 17 very specific policies, they all agree. On anything else, It's total social issues, abortion, gay marriage, all these surface level issues to keep you fighting. But on the core issues, like economy, military spending, all of these very specific, they all agree. Every single one of them agrees in line. So these people, they're like actors. They're like paid actors.
They are.
They are absolutely paid actors.
And just like Joe Biden said, and just like Matt Gaetz here said, I've always thought this, and it is, by the way, it's a bill that will never come to light, and we've talked about this before. Right. Where does the money go? Yeah. And where does it come from? Because at this point, I think, and just like Matt Gaetz said, it's basically that way anyway. If you are a senator or a congressman, you should have to wear, it's a unitard like a race car driver.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
And it should have all of the logos and names of the people that supported you and put you in power.
Yeah. That would be fucking hilarious.
And you have to.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way to take, like, oh, you're one of his guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, and that would be perfect because then you could just see it right there.
Yeah, and then an issue comes up and it's like, oh, all of his guys went over there. Okay. I wonder what he's thinking. Yeah.
that would be pretty funny. Oh man, but they're never going to do anything like that. And so it feels like despite any kind of change that you thought might happen, we are still in the neocon boomer generation. They have such a stranglehold over the system but the fact of the world is it's not 1963 anymore. You can't run the world like this anymore. Yeah. And the internet, AI, all this stuff is just, it's an outdated system that's collapsing under a burgeoning new system that might happen.
Yeah. And I do kind of think, like you said, in a way, and I've always agreed with this, is that a lot of these politicians we're seeing are actors.
Yeah.
And I think that is a big problem for our government as a whole, because none of them could come up with the solutions for the problems that we have today.
Oh yeah, and the system itself is not designed at all to deal with rapid changes in technology. That's the other problem here.
That, but like if you would have thought of someone that you trust to actually come up with a solution for a problem.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be one of these people.
No, it would be Andrew Yang. And I'm still Yang Gang all the way. Andrew Yang had actual solutions to real problems. He was one, and we need, honestly, if we had a whole Senate full of Andrew Yangs, we would be living in Star Trek right now. You know what I mean? But none of these people think along these lines at all.
No, it's where are my donors and all of that kind of thing. And even if they were, like I said, cornered into you have to figure something out, I don't think
they wouldn't even be able to do it.
They wouldn't be able to do it.
No. Yeah. And I think that's why shit's gonna get weird real quick soon. Yeah. But we'll call it there.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time, guys.